Welcome to AVoice for Creators. I'm your host, Daniel Norton. This week we're going to look at some topics that were suggested by Graham over on the Discord. If you haven't joined the Discord yet, check the show notes. There's a link there. You can join up and join the conversation and make suggestions. So let's get to it. We'll handle these one at a time. There's a few of them, and here we go. Is critique necessary for the elevation of our art? If yes, how do we choose our critics? This is a good one. How do we avoid critics? This is actually really, really interesting. And I think that yes and no would be my answer here. I think that if you plan on showing your work to gain success in the art industry or in commercial photography or in anything like that, then peer and public approval is super necessary. So it's good to hear from people so you have an idea that you're going in the right direction. If you are just doing it because you love photography, then I don't think you ever need to talk to anybody else about it. It could just be your jam. Who do we get critiques from? I would say people that are doing the things we want to do are the best people to give you a critique. People who have shown that through time, they have been able to achieve what you're trying to achieve. If you're looking to be a commercial photographer, it's best to get critiqued by commercial photographers. If you're looking to, let's say, get published in magazines, then either magazine photographers or more likely editors, because those are the people who do that, maybe art directors. You know, it's really hard to say. How do we avoid? You're not going to be able to. The people that are the least qualified to critique you are the ones that are going to do it first. So, yeah, I would take everything with a grain of salt. The public is the ultimate decider, right? So even if an art director tells you you're great, if every person that you meet in the street hates your work, then it probably isn't going to carry in the mass market. That's just the way it is. But I don't think we need critique. I think it's useful to have critique. And not even critique. Actually, I think even more useful than critique is just intercourse with other creatives. Like just talking to other creatives, even if they never tell you one way or the other, if they, a way that you could improve or if they like what you're doing, just talking to them about their process will probably help you more than anything else. Now, move on to number 2. A lot of good stuff here. Can our art exist in and of itself? Oh, there you go. There you go. So this is kind of the same thing. He's talking about looking at other work and copying, plagiarism, being inspired by. Yeah, I think it can. In fact, and I've mentioned this a bunch of times, I personally don't look at a lot of photography. And I look at even less photography when I'm shooting a lot. Like when I was shooting for magazines and stuff, I almost never looked at fashion magazines. I looked at other kinds of art though. So I looked at paintings, I looked at movies, but more importantly, I looked at books and I listened to music. So I think that one form of art does help another form of art grow. I don't think we need to look at photography to be good photographers. I think we just have to have an idea and have the technical know-how to put it together. I think it's unavoidable for us to see other photography. And I think many of us become photographers because we look at photography. So I don't know that you would be a photographer if you didn't like and look at photography, at least on some level. So do we need it? I mean, in the most abstract sense, yes. Do we need it to nourish us, to grow us? I don't think so. These are really good. So does the art have to carry a message? Absolutely not. But then he says in parentheses, or emotion, yes. So I think that art that carries a message should have emotion. And I think that in order for it to be truly art, it needs to evoke emotion in the subject. So if you produce something that evokes no emotion, then I don't think it would really be considered art in my definition of what art would be. So I guess for that reason, yes. I think that, does that mean that we shouldn't make images if we don't have some kind of intent to show emotion or to evoke emotion? Definitely not. Because just the creation of the images can be a way for us to grow as people. So there's lots of reasons to make pictures, and some of those reasons are completely self-contained. And this is why we don't always have to show our work to people, because sometimes we're just doing it for us. Oh, kind of as part of this, there's a part where he's talking about how much responsibility should we take in how people will take it. Because I guess there's that thing, right? Like if you create a piece of art, once you do that, anybody who looks at it is going to get from it what they want to get from it. That's just going to happen no matter what. Ideally, it will be a consistent message. It won't always be the message you thought it would say. And how do we do that? How responsible are we? I don't think that we are that responsible. I think the responsibility of the artist is to share what we feel. And if we share what we feel and it evokes a different emotion than we were feeling, that can be okay. Oh, and finally, this is a big one. Well, I could have made 3 different podcasts out of this. So what's more important, passion, intent, or technical ability? This I would love for people to call in and let me know what you think. If you'd like to call into the show, you can do so by checking out the show notes. There's a link to Anchor. You can also join the Discord. Like I mentioned at the beginning, you can suggest topics like this, but also you can send me a private message and I will, record your voice. I'll play it on the show. Or you can just send me a message and I'll read it. Either way, I would love to hear what you think about this. And I'll wait a couple of episodes and I'll come back and I'll answer this one, Graham. So I'm not going to answer this one yet. I'm going to leave that out there for the public to decide, the court of public opinion. What is more important, passion, intent, or technical ability? If you want to support the podcast, go ahead and share it with your friends. Also, rate and review it if you can. Join the Discord server, like I mentioned below in the show notes, but also you could support me via Patreon. So go to the Patreon link, see if any of that stuff interests you. If not, just sharing it around is good enough for me, and I really appreciate it. I'll talk to you soon.